My name is Maya Morrel, and I am on the women's MacEwan soccer team. I'm originally from Vancouver, BC. I was in a scouting tournament back in Vancouver, and with my youth team, and my coach found me and asked if I wanted to come to MacEwan. I'd never heard of it before I met him, but I was like, oh, I like the size of the school. I'd never been to Edmonton before, so I took him up on the offer, and 6 years later, I've been here. When I was about 11, 12, after the London Olympics, when Canada got bronze, I kind of realized that I wanted to do that as well, and I continued with it throughout youth and then pursued varsity career, and then hopefully I would hope to continue playing professionally. Growing up, my parents weren't in the soccer world, and so everything that I achieved was just through my hard work. And so I know it was definitely hard for myself watching some other players who maybe had parents that were in the soccer world, and so that gave them a little bit of an edge growing up. And so I just think that I can't thank my parents again enough to keep pushing. So that was kind of the main thing for me, I found, was just I had to get everything on my own, which is not a bad thing, but it's definitely hard when you're watching people kind of getting where you want to go. And I'm thinking that you're doing enough, but it just seems like there's just that little bit left that you're not there. I cannot thank my parents enough for the amount of practices and games they drove me to. I used to do morning training, so they would get up in the morning with me and drive me about 30 minutes to practice, and then we had games an hour away, 30 minutes away, so without them, I couldn't have done it myself. And then even when I decided to play varsity, when you play soccer and go to school, you don't have much time to work, so they helped me out financially as well so that I could continue playing. And then, my friends have been super supportive as well. They would come to my games, and same with my partner, always coming to my games and just there to cheer me on the side, which I can't thank them enough for. I think what I liked about when he was kind of advocating for coming to MacEwan, when I did my visit, I loved the campus right away. I have always liked small classroom sizes, which I've appreciated at MacEwan. I felt comfortable immediately when I was walking on campus, so that was a plus because you are here for school as well as school first, and then you're an athlete. But I don't know, the way that he talked about the team and their values and their goals kind of aligned with what mine were. And at the time, they needed a forward to help score goals, which I was a forward. So I felt that I could help contribute to the team's success, which down the road we ended up winning a national championship, which I think is the highest achievement you can get. As a female in any sport, you're bound to get subjected to these gender biases and stereotypes, unfortunately, that are in sports, but specifically in soccer. Even on the pro level, you can still see that there's an inequality in payment and players and treatment and things like that. But no, I've definitely been on the other end of where you're watching a male counterpart get treated one way, and then it turns around and you get the opposite, which is not the nicest feeling. And there's this constant sense of having to kind of prove that you can play just as well as the men. And I think it's definitely gotten better over the years, but I've had my fair share of I haven't dealt with any abuse, sexual abuse or anything that other players have, but I've definitely gotten verbal abuse and psychological damage just from different things that I don't think is acceptable. But unfortunately, it's very common as a female athlete to experience those comments. And a lot of comments about appearance and the jerseys and all of that. It just gets added into it when it should just matter how you play. I definitely think it's definitely getting better in the fact that more people are respecting women's soccer. And I mean, you can see that even on the world stage, just of the amount of records that are being broken now, like at the World Cup that just happened in Australia and New Zealand, stadiums were breaking records with selling them out, which 5-6 years ago, there were 3/4 of that watching them play. And the leagues are becoming more competitive, players are becoming known. So it's definitely the recognition of women's soccer is becoming more apparent, but there's definitely still just like systemic gender stereotypes that are still kind of hanging around, because there's still things that get brought up where it's like that wouldn't have been brought up to a male. And again, like I said before, I didn't really realize a couple of years later until I was kind of like, I kind of want to pursue this, because also at that point, there wasn't very many players that I could look up to. Like women's soccer, again, wasn't broadcasted on TV, so I never really saw it until that London Olympics game. So it wasn't until then where I was kind of like, I actually really like this. And just in different games where just that high that you felt when I was playing, I just realized I hadn't, again, realized that I would like to continue with this. I was just really enjoyed going out and playing. One thing that I've definitely had to overcome consistently is my confidence. And when I was younger, when I was about 13, 14, I had a period of when I just didn't believe in myself that much. And then it wasn't until I had some coaches who, they believed in me, and so then seeing their faith that they put in me and how much they said believed in me as a player kind of helped uplift me. And then again, I had another period where I almost quit soccer actually a couple of years ago because I kind of fell out of love with it. I hated going to practice, I hated playing games, I hated everything kind of associated with it. And then I kind of had a period where I was able to go back home. I played on a team in the summer that just kind of reignited my drive for it. But it still comes and goes. You still have days where you doubt yourself, where you don't think you're good enough. But I think it's just important in remembering that, you're here for a reason and you're playing on these teams for a reason, and that you're good enough. But every day sometimes you wake up and you don't want to go to practice, which I still get sometimes, or you kind of just want to sleep in because you're so tired. But I think confidence is a constant battle of just when you get in your head and start doubting yourself, it can definitely bring you down without realizing it. I would say there was when I came to MacEwan, same thing. Like I've been on this team now for 6 years, kind of the same story where I've become best friends with a lot of the girls on the team, and we all cheer for each other and root for each other. But I would have to say my roommate that I lived with for 5 years, we got paired together as first years by our coach, and we got along right away. And we kind of went through everything together, all the ups, the downs, and because added on the fact that we lived together, so it wasn't that we were going to school together, we were going to soccer together, plus we were living together. So we kind of I probably spent the most time with her just because we lived together over the last 5 years, and that just we have so many memories. We did everything together, even though we were already spending all our days together. But I think it helped me it was a way to kind of debrief about the day, or if you're having a rough day, have someone to talk to, someone who's there for you. And I think that really helped me specifically in my varsity career. But any team I play on, when you have a good relationship with your teammates, it just makes it that much better. It's kind of weird to say, but just how much a little round ball how much fun it could bring. Grapes.